So Insidious Chapter 3,
You said, actually, that's fine. That's all you need to
No,
say.
no,
Your sigh of despair.
no, funnily enough, it isn't. This is one of the few cases in which you preempting what I think about a film turns out actually not to be true.
Surprised me.
Okay, so Insidious Chapter 3, which is a prequel to Insidious Chapter 2, it starts, I think it's a couple of months or a couple of days or a little while before the Lambert haunting. What's that thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Sometime in the Middle Ages. Oh no, it's not. That's a Terry Gilliam movie. Anyway, so the setup is
Great.
that Dermot Mulrooney, not to be confused with Dylan McDermott. You can understand how those.
What about Dermot O'Leary? Is he in this?
Dermot O'Leary's he's in both of them.
Cool.
And that's the thing that's so strange. He is a widowed father whose daughter is played by Stephanie Scott. She, at the beginning, goes to see Lynn Shay, who is the kind of recurrent psychic character who actually in many ways is the strongest suit of all of this. She is somebody who has turned her back on psychic investigation because she has discovered that there is something weird and strange and ooga booga happening just out there in the ether, which she does not want to confront. However, Stephanie Scott's character comes through and says, look, I want to get in touch with my mum. Is there any way you can help me? She says no at first, but then she starts to be convinced that actually she should help her. Here is a clip.
What's happening to me?
One night after you came to see me, I had a vision of you. You were standing in the dark. A man was walking toward you. A man who couldn't breathe. I've been to that dark place too. It's not a place for pure souls. It is very dangerous. When you go there, things come back with you.
I don't want to die, Elise.
You have a long life ahead of you. I cross my heart.
Now, I remember when I was reviewing Insidious 2 that I was, incredibly down there. I said there's a moment in that in which the kid has gone over to the other side. He's come back and he said he's brought something with him. What has he brought with him? Well, he's clearly brought the scripts for Amityville and for Poltergeist and for The Shining and for The Changeling and for all those other films which this rips off. And I was saying that this was absolutely symptomatic of that thing which is the term that Nigel Floyd first coined, which was cattle prod cinema, in which the whole way that the movie works is that it goes quite bang, very, very loudly. And you see it in the cinema in which the volume is cranked up. And it's part of that.
And were you right?
Well, in the case of that film, I was. Now, in the case of Insidious 3, obviously I went in thinking, really, do we have to go through all this? Here is the interesting thing. It's directed by Lee Whannell, who before has been the screenwriter for the series. We also see him on screen. And actually, funnily enough, this is better, certainly massively better than Insidious 2. It still has that really kind of mechanical jack-in-the-box, jump out and shout boo functionality that the series has and which has now become absolutely the sort of default setting for modern popular horror. However, alongside that, it has Lynn Shay, who is clearly enjoying herself and and it brings a certain class to an otherwise very, very derivative and, hugely unoriginal script. It also has a couple of moments in which, rather than the problems with earlier on in the series, which is that the demon looks like Darth Maul, there is a certain frisson of shiver. And I was watching it thinking, I'm doing that thing about tensing up because I know the movie's going to shout boo at me in a minute, and I'm really fed up with this. But every now and then, in the middle of it shouting boo, there was, you jolt, but at the same time you also get a shiver. Now, a shiver is what I want from a horror film.
Well, the shiver comes after the jolt? You shiver prior to the jolt?
It's sort of simultaneous, but it's more than just it's more than just whoa. It's like ooh. So there's two different reactions. One of them is and it's so. To be brutally honest, I mean, it's terribly unoriginal, terribly derivative. It is still part of a series which, to be honest with, I could live without. However, it is going in the right direction, and it would be churlish to say that it doesn't on a very, very functional, very mechanical level. If what you want to do is go thing with a big thing of popcorn and every now and then you spill it, that's perfectly fine. And there are a couple of shivers, and that is not to be sniffed at.